We can't talk during intro. Okay. Oh, hey! Hello and welcome, guys. We at the special edition of AsidCast podcast, the ultra super special mega edition of this because Udit isn't around.
Oh
And,
damn!
I'm
With this,
hosting.
yeah, you can
Yeah,
see
I'm
the
hosting the podcast today.
you can see the anxiety on my face and Soham's face because Udit's not there. Rip.
So,
Introduce
I
the
like
people.
how you skipped out on what
Wait,
now?
Aman needs to introduce the people.
no, let me finish the intro.
Okay, yeah,
at least.
host.
Okay, fine.
Go
Go
We
for
for
are
it, go
at
for
the
it.
super mega special edition of AsidCast podcast. Yeah, like this is the 12th one, I think.
I
It's written
think.
here.
Yeah, it is a turn. It is a turn.
Joining me today on my left, like there is no camera, so he's literally here. It's Arnab Bawalbaba. We have Soham joining in on us as well, and we have Ratul.
What's up?
We have so we have several topics to discuss today, starting with WarCraft 4. Is it coming? Riot Publishing drop rates of loot boxes. Kingdom Come Deliverance selling 1 million copies. Burnout Paradise remaster coming in. Metal Gear Survive wants you to pay to save. Troy Baker is confirmed in Death Stranding. Politicians blaming video games for mass shootings. And later we will go and check different new game suggestions from each of us. And local news from India.
Alright,
So-
before you start, can I just say that I miss Udit already?
I am extra with it. I'm just like know how
But he's
neutron stars are-
tall. He's tall and muscle.
You know how neutron stars
Yeah.
are more condensed and more powerful? It's like that.
Okay,
with me.
That totally made sense.
totally.
Or black holes.
So random.
Go ahead with the topics, dude. Come on, Mr. Host.
So let's start. Something that I'm very excited about. 3. So Ratul knows this. I know this. Soham sort of knows this because he's a Blizzard fan. I don't know how much Bawalbaba knows about this. But
I do.
WarCraft 3 got a lot of not a lot. It's got
It
a
leaves
patch.
behind a legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It got a patch recently. And we've been hearing rumors from last week, basically, about top players of WarCraft 3 from 15 years back getting invited to US for a special event by Blizzard.
I don't think it is secret. Everybody knows this.
It's not a secret,
This
but
one.
like there were rumors going about it last week. This
No,
week
it's
it got
confirmed anyways, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
confirmed in the end. Even Blizzard
it
made an
was.
announcement saying you're also invited, bringing old school Warcraft 3
Yeah,
veterans.
you've got Grubby and Moon, I think, coming
Yeah.
back, right?
Yeah,
I remember watching Grubby. He's still playing every week almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on.
Very
So
active.
one very important thing about this is that we have been hearing about Warcraft 3 remaster for a long time, right? And more importantly, if you guys have been avid World of Warcraft players, which is Ratul, by the way,
Yeah.
you know for a fact that Blizzard has said several times that they want to come back to Warcraft 4, but they want to do it after World of Warcraft.
No, not just after World of Warcraft. They wanted to focus more on StarCraft. Like they did mention they were working on bringing back a remastered version for StarCraft. After that,
Yeah.
also finishing off the World of Warcraft main franchise, then bring out a Warcraft 4. Right? So that was what they mentioned before, bringing it into with before tackling the Warcraft universe yet again.
Right. So it's very interesting. Ratul, since you're an old school Warcraft player, give me your inputs. Like, what do you think is coming? I mean, the patch is already here. There are already lots of rumors going around that the remaster might be coming in. BlizzCon is still far away for this year, but like, what are the chances of us coming across Warcraft 4 or a full-scale remaster where it's not just the graphics but even the gameplay and everything?
Yeah, so I've actually been following those Reddit threads out there. I think you also sent me a couple of links. I've checked them out. So I think that it's probably going to be a remaster because they focused on the StarCraft 1 remaster. I wouldn't be surprised. Or maybe they might bring out a WarCraft 1 remaster. You don't know what's Blizzard. You will never know what the company's plans are, right? So you gotta wait for a bit before they kind of announce it. But I'm hoping for Warcraft 3 remastered and Warcraft 4. Yes, I'm being a bit too greedy when I say that, because I am a big fan of the Warcraft universe. Like, I love the lore. I've been following, I've read all the books that my brother has gotten from his friends. I've played World of Warcraft for 6 years. I've played Warcraft 3 for like an entire year, and I had so much fun with it. So I'm actually looking forward to, what Blizzard has in store for us in terms of the Warcraft universe. So yes, BlizzCon is far away. Sadly, I've got to wait. But I am ready to wait that long to know what that announcement is. I just hope it's not disappointing.
I feel like a small announcement it might be just the remaster, right? Might come when the invitational happens. When is the invitational happening again?
Not sure. I don't think they have mentioned it. You're invited. Wait, let me just open up. So
yeah, so it's happening in a few months, I think.
Yeah, I think they might schedule it for, like, it might be an online, like, how do I put this? It might be like a league thing, like this invitational, and then they might do like a Warcraft 3, like maybe a remastered tournament at BlizzCon if they announce it. I would be surprised with that. That's very possible.
It's on February 27th, I think, the invitational.
Right.
Yeah, 27th and 28th on Twitch. So like 3 days away.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's very. So, Shoham, you are a StarCraft player, right? You have been playing StarCraft for the longest time, and you have been hardcore into that scene. What are your thoughts?
Well, firstly, the only thing that strikes me right now is when you say that as a person, you're a fan of Warcraft and you're expecting a remaster within the gameplay. I think this is something that would have absolutely no precedent whatsoever. You saw Age of Empires 1 getting a remake. They did not touch the gameplay at all, other than the units having 32 directions to move instead of 8 directions. Nothing was changed whatsoever. The same thing goes to StarCraft 1's remaster. If you see, the only thing they have updated here is giving it an HD makeover. They do not touch the graphics and they do not touch the gameplay. That being said, if you see this in Valve and you see this in Blizzard also already with StarCraft, I would be surprised if there is gameplay changes within Warcraft 3. I did play the game a little. I never really got into it that much, given I was more a StarCraft kind of guy. But yeah, that's about it from my side.
So, unlike Valve, which has stopped making games, right?
Yeah. They're scared of the number 3.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Valve does have Artifact, which is a Dota card game coming out, but that does not count as a game. Yeah.
That's not counted as a game that a studio of like 300 plus employees can push out. I think that's more like a hobby kind of game that like 10-20 people inside Valve. I think.
Yep.
Right. Unlike Valve, Blizzard has a full-time studio, right? That full-time studio was for most of the time develops World of Warcraft, or recently after 12 years made Overwatch. 12 years, right?
Yeah. I don't.
So right now they have their avenues open as such, because they're only just adding heroes to Overwatch and skins and we know for a fact that World of Warcraft creation has been put on Hyperloop, in the sense that it's going on a very auto mode, and people already know from way back how many expansions are coming out in the next 5 years, say, what they're doing, etc. I think. Why am I saying that? I think because Blizzard is probably making another game. Now, here's the interesting part. You said that, Shoham, that remasters haven't touched gameplay, right?
Yep.
And haven't touched the graphics or the main art style as much. If a remaster for Warcraft is coming, right, Warcraft 3, I would be very excited to see something like Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2 remasters as well. And if Warcraft 1-2 remaster comes in, they definitely have to put some effort into gameplay, right?
They should, yeah.
Yeah, they definitely would be possible. I don't think Warcraft 1 and 2 ever got the following as much as it did when Warcraft 3 itself released. So they do have, what you can say, a liberty in sense of being able to touch the main gameplay mechanics,
Yeah.
However, that being said, I'd just like to point out one small thing. In StarCraft 2's arcade map maker, you have all the campaigns of Warcraft 1, 2, and 3 in the engine, in that game.
Campaigns?
It's kind of nice. Campaigns, yeah.
Campaigns of Warcraft 1?
2, 3. It's fan made, obviously, but it nevertheless is state of the art, you can say.
Yeah, I mean that's the one good thing about the Warcraft community or any like the Blizzard communities, in fact, where
Very
the communities
dedicated.
they basically recreate campaigns from
Start
the
the PC
franchises as well. I think there was also a Warcraft RPG for Diablo that a lot of people used to play in Garena, like back in the day. I remember playing that once. Like there was so many custom maps and stuff. And I remember reading in that Reddit thread a lot of people they wanted a better world editor. Right, because I've used the world editor in Warcraft 3, and I can tell that it was actually pretty buggy. It wasn't. It was good. You could make good maps with it, but it had its issues, crashes, and a lot of bugs here and there. So I mean, I just hope that they kind of fix the world editor as well. I mean, because I think Warcraft 3 and StarCraft 2 were like. Does StarCraft 2 have a world editor? So
StarCraft 2 does have a world editor. That is how they made the campaigns.
Oh, all right, cool, fine. All right, no, I was just wondering because I think that was like the last game I played which had a world editor with it, Warcraft 3.
So next topic, Aman.
Yeah, I think Aman disconnected.
Yeah, they
I mean,
disconnected.
his face is frozen.
Yeah,
that's actually a pretty nice face. Let me see if I can emulate the same thing. But I need the headset in around my neck. If I do that, I'd actually break this one because it's already loose as it is. But yeah, so since Aman is not here, I'm gonna steal the thunder and take interim host. Would you play the Warcraft 4 or Warcraft 3 remastered?
Definitely. Like, I remember spending a decent amount of my childhood playing Warcraft 3. It was basically the cafes that really got me into that game, especially given the fact that Dota 1 also had started garnering a fan following within the Mumbai cafes where I used to play. However, I never got interested in Dota. I used to always play it for the 1v1 games because I was a very RTS guy. I played Age of Empires, Rise of Nations.
Correct, yeah.
And there was Command and Conquers, and within that, you can say within these spheres of legacy, like the ones that leave a lot of nostalgia for a lot of fans of the RTS genre, Warcraft 3 definitely occupies a very major position, as you can say, within the growth of RTS the RTS genre. So that being said, I'm obviously very excited, given that we already from Age of Empires side have two remasters and one game coming out.
Correct, yeah.
I think with Warcraft coming out with something else, it would just be amazing.
It would be pretty good, yeah. So wait, have you finished the Warcraft 3 Okay, if they're gonna bring out a Warcraft 3 remaster,
no. I never really played the campaigns, and I don't know enough on the Warcraft lore, I would say.
Oh, all right, fine. So all right, we're back, guys. So Aman here had a little PC issue. And something went wrong. So before we find out what went wrong, Aman, what are your PC specs?
So as you can see, I'm sitting in the X-Ray office, right? So these are premium quality.
I can see that X right behind Arnab's ear. Like what went wrong though? Yeah, you can see the X.
Anyway, I don't know.
Aman jinxed it. It was running fine up until he came along to do the podcast.
I wouldn't take Aman's name just into it yet. I saw you get up from your chair and you went out and you did something. Don't tell me you tried to sabotage the podcast.
Yeah, I basically jinxed the PC so it would crash right in the middle of the podcast.
Wow, what a guy, dude. What the hell?
No, anyway, let's get back to the topic.
Yeah.
Which is Warcraft 3. What were we discussing about?
Yeah, so we basically just were sharing our opinions on what to expect and whatnot.
Yeah,
so
Warcraft 1 and 2 remastered, right?
Yeah.
Have you guys played Warcraft 1 and 2?
I've played Warcraft 2.
Yeah,
I could not play it. Like it feels too rudimentary as an RTS,
I agree, but when I played Warcraft 2, I played it around 2005. I just completed Warcraft 3 and I was like, oh, where did this game come from? And I explored those games way back then. I couldn't play Warcraft 1 because everything was a slideshow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was very literally looked like a slideshow. Like the cinematics and everything just looked very old school, very arcadey, and that did not sit right with me right after playing something like Warcraft 3.
Okay, it was released in 94, so that makes sense. It was for MS-DOS, okay.
It's older than most of us.
It's older than Shaham.
Actually,
everything
older
is
than all of us.
5 years.
Think about
Everything is older than me, man.
Anyway, one very interesting thing I was thinking of, if Warcraft 3, if they were going to make Warcraft 3 remaster, which would presumably, I would think, mean an engine upgrade, right?
Yeah.
I would really love Blizzard to come with Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2 campaigns, similar to what they did for in Frozen Throne. If you played Ratul,
Yeah.
then you know that there was a panda quest, right?
Oh yes, there was the Rexar mini quest.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mini campaign. I remember that. That was actually pretty fun. It was it felt like an RPG, more like an RPG than an RTS.
Yeah, but I would love for like mini campaigns to come make a comeback if the remaster came back for Warcraft 3, right? Imagine like doing mini campaigns, like understanding what the first Warcraft 1 story was, which was basically adapted to the movie, right?
Yeah.
And Warcraft 2, so many people don't know the origin of Warcraft 2. Most people don't know that when Warcraft started, there were no Draenei. There were a lot of races that are very common to World of Warcraft right now. Even something like goblins came very late.
They came
as
very
far as I
recent. Like
remember.
they were known to be in the universe, but
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
only introduced as like playable characters like much later on, even in the RTS. Like I don't think you played as goblins. You only played as trolls like mid or campaign, and
Yeah.
later on, even in the demo, you never played as the trolls. The demo you
Yeah.
never played as a troll. You just played straight orcs and you just went on. Also, I like the fact that the good thing that the demo came up. If you guys have played the Warcraft 3 demo, it actually has a bit of the campaign which you can never play in the original game. Right? Where Thrall, when he's making the trip to Kalimdor from the Eastern Kingdoms, he gets stranded in the Lost Isles. Like in the Lost Isles, and that's where he finds more about he meets the trolls, he meets Vol'jin and stuff like that.
That was there in the original campaign as well, right?
Really? Like I don't remember playing it at all, because I remember after the Kalimdor thing, it was there because the Orc campaign ended abruptly, and then when you started the Night Elf campaign, you kind of found out that the Orcs just landed in shore with little to no men, because they had like an army when they were sending it at the end, right? So that's what happened.
Right.
Because I only
I
remember.
remember which campaign you're talking about, though. When they find who is this troll guy that died in
Vol'jin.
Warcraft recently. Yeah, they find Vol'jin in one of those islands, right?
Yeah, they do. They find him, and that's where you meet the trolls and you play. I think you only control like a few units. You weren't able to produce them like properly in the demo, and the demo only had like 3 missions.
Right. Interesting. So I would love for like I would love to play all Warcraft campaigns again on better graphics, because Warcraft 3 was the game I think that got me invested into gaming. Like I played a lot of games before Warcraft 3, but Warcraft 3 was the game that made me like, holy shit, video games.
Yeah,
can
same
beat
here,
this
same
out.
here. It actually
Yeah.
hooked me onto RTS as a genre and gaming, and also got me into the Warcraft lore.
Yeah, and if Soham knew which of the better Blizzard games to play, I think he would have to.
the slice shots coming in.
I would actually consider Rise of Nation a better RTS, but
That's not a
It is
Blizzard
a
game.
hero.
Yeah, but it's not a Blizzard
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to get into StarCraft versus Warcraft right now. Let's just skip.
Yeah, I mean they
Yeah,
both can be interconnected to a common universe like Heroes of the Storm. Okay, let's leave it at that. and
No,
move
please
on.
don't do that.
All right,
No,
all
please
right.
not.
Let's
Please
move
not.
on. Let's move on.
Yeah.
StarCraft lore is insane. Okay, never mind. Yeah, just move on.
So, concluding words, I would love for Warcraft 3 to come back with better more campaigns, not just the old ones. I would love to see better graphics. I just can't help but imagine things, because Warcraft 3 was really the game. Blizzard games in general were really the games that got me into video games.
Does that
We
have
spent too much time on this,
kind
guys.
of
Move
a
on.
lot of their studio like I don't know, whatever call that, like entities around to make new games. Like we have heard of Diablo stuff coming up now, Warcraft. Like it's gonna be very interesting times, I guess, for Blizzard fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll just
So,
have to wait till
moving on.
BlizzCon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
BlizzCon is pretty far away, though.
Pretty far, but
Moving on.
moving on.
The second topic, it's an interesting topic, and one of the reasons why I asked Shoham to be here. While he does not play League of Legends, do you, Shoham?
I don't.
Yeah, of course you don't. Anurag,
I
I
mean,
hope you
I'm not a
understand.
LOL hater, but go
I
on.
mean, you should. It's actually very different from Dota, and it's a smaller map. You
Um,
like it.
So, the small fact.
I have
so-
played a little. I could not get hooked onto it. But anyways, go on. Yeah.
Anyway, small fact for people from India: League of Legends is going to be very, very famous in India very soon. I say that mainly because League of Legends is a similar game to Dota, and whereas the exception with League of Legends is that their creators are actually coming to India and setting up store
Yeah.
office in Delhi,
Yeah.
and they're going to be doing a lot of tournaments, etc., and events around the game. So expect League of Legends to be slowly become as popular as Dota or more so, because Riot is a very interesting and very big entity in video game industry in the world, and
Yep.
them coming to India is a very, very good news, especially because League of Legends is also a free game. So
Also, it's one of the
Yeah.
games which has a very large player base, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
Yeah, it has
most
the
of
largest player
players-
base in the world.
Yeah, it is. Like,
League of Legends is the most played game in the world. Yeah.
yeah.
but most of the player base is also from China, right? In
Yeah, China,
I'm
US
not
and
sure
Europe.
about it.
I mean, China, US, Europe, and Korea are their. I think they're four primary.
Yeah. Correct. Korea, I'm sure about that.
Anyway, so a very interesting topic I wanted to discuss about League of Legends and Riot is that Riot will be publishing drop rates for loot boxes. Now, if you've played games like Dota, if you've played games like CSGO, if you've even played Overwatch, you know that loot boxes are a thing, right?
They're
And why
a
I
thing.
want, they're a common thing at this point. Like most games have that, even single player games
Yep.
have that. Right.
Yep.
But why I wanted Shoham's opinion on this is because since you've been playing a lot, you played Dota for a long time.
Yep.
Ratul, you played CSGO, I guess.
I
Yeah,
used to, not
yes.
anymore, but I used to play
Yeah,
CS. Yes.
but you played it.
Yeah, I've played it.
What do you think are the ramifications for Riot publishing drop rates for loot boxes? I mean, how do you think it benefits us? I mean, it does benefit with us knowing, what is the
I
percentage
mean,
of where
that's basically just boils down to the singular point of consumer awareness. I mean,
Mhm.
from our side, we talked this on the last podcast also. As the thing, like there is obviously a certain precedent to this. The Chinese government, I think, was the first to ask, and this was their conclusive opinion on loot boxes, and that is that you can continue this as an activity within video games regardless of the age and PEGI ratings. The only point is that the consumer needs to be aware of the chances, and they are able like rational consumers making informed decisions.
Yeah.
It
They are
comes down to that.
Yeah, they're made aware of the percentages for each particular item in
Yes,
that particular
within the loot box and the
yeah.
chances that you have for getting each of them. That is obviously a positive step. I think that will do a lot of good for the gaming community. There is already a lot of work, as you would say, regarding CSGO trading, which in India has resulted in a lot of children making their parents end up in poverty by taking their credit cards and playing gambling with skins and stuff. Like, I was big time into trading a long time back, and I've had the opportunity to firsthand experience these stories from various people in the many
Is that why
steam
you
groups
developed
of.
this now?
No, I never got into the gambling side of it. Like, I wasn't stupid.
Right.
Not
Like,
that much.
I actually was in the gambling side for a bit back when
Okay.
it was more, it was value based. Trust me, it's fun, like, but you need to know when to stop. If you're smart that way, you can actually make like a quick buck, because I know a lot of my friends who actually just make a quick gamble. They get
It's just pure gambling. There's no point of skill. It's just pure luck.
in terms of
Cannot-
skill, no, because see the skill factor. Since I don't want to turn this into a gambling talk, because we're talking about Riot
Yeah,
and loot
go ahead,
boxes.
go ahead.
But the thing is, like, with CSGO in particular, there were so many websites which gave different games. It's almost like a Las Vegas casino for CSGO skins. So
Yep,
if you're
yep,
smart,
that's
you can
true.
actually do it. But anyway, that was just one, pillar side thing. Let's get back on topic with the right loot boxes. So yeah, actually, this is, I mean, pretty much what Soham said. Like, with China starting up with that regulation, and I think even in the last podcast we discussed it. Hawaii has already passed a bill over this, and Sweden and I think Germany are planning on regulating these loot boxes as well. Not sure about Germany.
Some of the countries that are like pushing back against these video game developers putting loot boxes and gambling things.
I think US does not have a debate on this yet. Hawaii,
No,
as we said.
US doesn't because
The US does not.
US doesn't because simply speaking, most of these companies are from US. Like they don't give a
Yeah,
shit.
they probably have a good hold on the policies and the discussion
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
will take place
Yeah,
in the general
but
public.
it's interesting
I
to
think
see that.
Taiwan and Hawaii have been the leaders in terms of taking strict action on this. Then there's obviously China, a totalitarian state. You do not expect anything different from them.
And one of the more democratic countries, like bigger democratic countries that have
then you will be pointing towards the Scandinavian countries regarding their
countries
decision.
and France.
And France, I guess.
Yeah.
I think Macron even talked on this, right? The
I'm
president.
pretty sure. Because this was a big thing in France. I remember,
Correct.
there was a huge issue where someone basically ended up like a kid basically ended up
buying a $2,000
bill of
something, right?
Yeah, I think this was in
$10,000
Denmark.
plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was, I think, another thing that we had talked in the last podcast. India is one of the few countries that has this OTP message part.
Yeah.
In foreign countries, you can just directly buy it regardless of any
Right.
check.
Yeah. Like even when you're buying
Yeah.
Steam games with an international credit
Yeah,
card,
you can directly
it
buy it.
doesn't ask you for an OTP, it just goes nuts with it. But coming back,
Yeah, I remember this specifically because I bought a video game with my mom's credit card and my mom freaked out. It's like they did not ask for a password.
yeah, even my dad freaked out the first time. He did.
So, yeah, this is a thing with outside countries. They have
No, but
companies
also if you think about it, like I'm actually looking at the link that Aman had sent me with the hex tech crafting that writes loot box and publishing the drop rates. It's actually pretty good, so that players will know what they're getting into before making the purchase of trying their luck at that crafting table. So yeah, it's actually a pretty good step coming in from a publisher's point of view. What happened?
So we're doing the podcast, right? And in the chat, Shoham is writing, "Stop fucking laughing, cunts."
Oh god.
It's
yeah,
all right.
It's a good thing. Like I honestly don't know how much it will affect revenues or how much it will affect consumer awareness, or even if it will lessen the amount of sales that are happening with loot boxes right now, or where it will go. But I do think this is a positive step.
Yeah, it's a progressive.
It's progressive,
certainly.
yeah.
It is progressive, but I don't see any. It's not a go-to solution yet for the loot box problem that the entire industry is facing right now.
Certainly, we are going to see a lot of debate going on
Yeah.
this, but I think this, as at the governmental level,
This
certainly
is though it's a good starting step, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Good, yeah.
This is like
It's
we're
not
not
going
getting
to-
off on the wrong side of the track,
Yeah.
It definitely makes sense to go in this direction as it's going currently.
Yeah, it's like when Shoham puts his hand in front of the camera. 50-50 chance.
50-50 chance. What's he gonna say? It's a positive thing or a negative thing?
You can actually see mouth and everything. Like you can eat on the podcast.
Yeah, you can eat on the podcast. No one gives a shit.
No, it's fine. I just don't want to. Now, man, just go on. Yeah, what the hell?
Okay.
Oh my god.
But Arnab, I haven't asked you. What are your thoughts on the? By the way, yes. Why am I asking Arnab? Arnab plays a lot of Warframe, which also has loot boxes.
Warframe has a lot.
It does?
No.
Okay.
I do not want to bring Warframe into this. I actually want to bring Rainbow Six Siege because if
They
you
have alpha
Bring
packs.
both of them.
yeah, they have alpha packs, and there's a new event coming up, and it also has its own set of premium alpha packs. Now, what
Premium.
Okay.
exactly? I'll get
Fine.
into that. So,
Golden
what they
Matrix.
did, this event has some limited edition, like sort of cosmetics and skins and everything. But what they have done with the premium packs, you can't get any duplicates. So once you get one item from that loot pool, it gets omitted. The next alpha pack you open will have everything, a chance for you to get everything except that item you just got. So it just
That's a good idea.
reduces the dilution of the loot and just makes everything much more easier. It's not exactly.
No, it's the stream.
Thank God, I almost lost my shit. But
But
doesn't.
talk on Warframe also, no?
Warframe doesn't have any loot boxes per se. Warframe just says, okay, do you want to invest more time or do you want to invest more money? And it's basically that. So
It's upfront.
Okay, so it's basically
Warframe.
microtransactions. That does
Yeah.
not count as
Warframe
loot
just
boxes per
straight up
se.
cuts to the chase and says, hey, do you want to buy this or do you want to grind this?
Yeah,
Which
okay, I get
both
it.
of them are easy. But Rainbow Six Siege, I think they have done a much better thing. They have just diluted the loot pool enough. So you get one item and you don't get any duplicates. It just
But that's
reduces the
only
frustration.
but that's only for the premium alpha pack that is for this
Yeah,
event.
it's only for this event, but it's a start.
Yeah, it's a start, correct.
Ubisoft is actually testing their stuff, right? And which is something completely unexpected from Ubisoft, I would say. So we're definitely seeing some changes with the loot box thing, and I think that stemming from all these controversies and all these like countries taking the next step forward for us. So that's about it. I think Riot and Ubisoft are definitely doing the best like for business, and hopefully in the next couple of months or years we can see the change coming up.
So I think Riot is doing all the steps because of the pressure from different countries, and less so because they're altruistic. Whereas I would go out of my way to suggest that Ubisoft might be doing this because they're trying to gain good faith with their customers.
Yeah, the
Primarily
community.
because Vivendi might bite them. Right now they need the support.
Correct.
So
And they've been doing it a lot. Like all three of their lifestyle games have come back. They have made a comeback. So
yeah, it's interesting. Far Cry 5 will also come in a few days.
even
So-
For Honor made a comeback.
Really?
Yeah, 7.5 million players overall.
Yeah, actually, I remember
1
that.
million concurrent players, and it has been
Who?
renewed
Which game? Which game?
Yours.
For Honor.
For Honor.
For
Like,
Honor.
I didn't
Okay.
think that game would
Yeah,
survive.
I
but
remember
it
that
has come
thing.
back for another year of season and content. So that's
Okay.
pretty interesting.
Anyway, speaking of For Honor, next game comes pretty much in line with this topic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Go for it.
going to the next topic, Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Hell yes.
So I will give my opinion on this first because I've been following this game way back from 2013 when the original Kickstarter was announced.
Okay.
So I've been following this game for a long time. So Kingdom Come Deliverance, good news, bad news. Bad news personally, I think. But they have sold, despite the number of bugs they have in the game, they have sold over 1 million copies, which is a good thing. Right? But here's where I have a problem. And here's where I cannot decide whether I should hold the studios, the Warhorse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Studio in the same level as Bethesda because of the Kickstarter, right? Here's the interesting part. If anyone has followed Kingdom Come since Kickstarter, you will know that in 2013 it was one of the biggest Kickstarters successfully to take place. Right?
Okay.
And then it got slowly delayed since original release date, I think, was somewhere, the alpha was supposed to come down somewhere in 2016, which got delayed slightly, and the game was supposed to release last year. It ended up releasing this year, which is still fine. Now, when it released this year, unfortunately, there are a lot of bugs, and it's an understatement to say that there are a lot of bugs. Like, there are literally progression halting bugs. Like, from different people on Reddit, apparently, so here's the thing. In the Kingdom Come Deliverance, for those who don't know, if you want to save the game, you have to go and talk to a person to save the game, and you have to drink a beer kind of thing to quick save. Right?
Basically,
Okay.
cheers.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Sometimes when you go and talk to that person after a 15-minute or 20-minute run, you might find that person under the floor and unable to talk to him. So bugs like that exist in this game.
Wow. Okay.
It's-
Those are like old school bugs, man.
Yeah, people are comparing this to
Skyrim.
People are comparing this to Skyrim. People are comparing this to Batman Arkham Knight, right? We know how Arkham Knight was handled.
Yeah, that had a lot of
Like,
bugs
that
as
game-
well.
That game.
I
came out-
nevertheless played a lot of it. It was pretty
Yeah,
good.
even I played it. Here's where I'm coming at. Right.
Okay.
Batman Arkham Knight, when it came out, there was a lot of bugs. There was an outcry. After the outcry, they took it off the store. They gave everyone free games. Like, if you bought Arkham Knight, in the beginning.
Yeah, I do have
Right.
all the 5 of the Batman games. Correct.
You got all the previous Batman games because you bought the game, and
Yep.
then it came back. So many fiascos. Later on, it survived. Right. In the same manner, we see the Kingdom Come Deliverance with the same, almost similar amount of bugs, selling over 1 million copies. What does this say about us as consumers? And this is a point what I'm trying to make. While at the same time, it's a very murky waters because Kingdom Come Deliverance is not published by a large studio like Bethesda. They don't have a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
They, as far as I see, they had to come out with this game because I think they ran out of money. Because they already, as I said, they were supposed to release the alpha of this game in 2016 and then supposed to release the game last year. It already got delayed, as far as I know, by a year. So I feel sad for these guys that they had to maybe release a game completely unfinished or not properly
Before its
tested.
production cycle.
Yeah. But at the same time, this game sold 1 million copies at the current state of it. It gives a way for like very, very weird conversations about in different forums I go in. Like there are people talking about how we give slack to indie developers, and whereas if this was a game by Bethesda, we would be like all praises about it.
So the point here should not be that we should be able to compare without these few contexts, that of one being an indie developer and one being a major publishing house. Like you should not just negate them, and then come to some decision. I think it matters when you're coming to some point of community criticism or something of that sort. That's kind of fine, in my opinion.
But you have to understand, the game released in a manner where certain people could not, like, after a while, if they had to save the game, they could not save the game. If they had to progress through a certain quest, they had to shut down and
Yeah, obviously, it makes sense to have a little more, I guess, in compared to what would have been good enough to result in some kind of a backlash. So, yeah, there is a point there. There is a point. Okay, my relation with Kingdom Come Deliverance, I basically bought that game. I played it for an hour, and I refunded it. Yeah,
You
but
refunded it?
that. Yeah, that's just because of my situation. Like I was like, I haven't played Witcher 3 Hearts of Stone, so it became a kind of a judgment. What am I going to play end of the day? So I just refunded it for the time being.
No, he hasn't played the Hearts of Stone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm playing
DLC
right now. That's the DLC I'm playing right now.
You should play that. So.
Yeah, it's too good. It's too good. Exactly. So I was like, okay, fine. Now I've played 1 hour of this game, and I find that I'm going to be putting my time in Hearts of Stone anyways. So I'll refund it right now. If they fix all the bugs and everything, and they get the graphics a bit better, I would say. I mean, there's a certain issues with there also I found. Then maybe I can reconsider to buy it later and play it later. Simple as that.
You played 1 hour of it. What are your thoughts in that one?
I mean, the concept is very engaging as a lover of history of like Holy Roman Empire and everything. That is what basically had me sold, the idea of getting an RPG set in that time. And to that end, I think it did a pretty good job in getting that kind of feudalist villages and everything, But in terms of technicalities, intricacies, and gameplay, I found it very lacking. Like, it's not a good game. It is a great environment. It is not a very good game. That's about it. I just played 1 hour though, so that's not a very conclusive opinion that I have on this game.
Right. So, Ratul.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, when I first heard about this game, I just learned about this towards the end of 2017, like a new game. Like I was looking out for the games of 2018. I saw this game, Kingdom Come Deliverance, checked out the features, and the one thing that caught my eye is the level of immersion and the graphics.
Really good. The environment. It's
Exactly,
really good.
the level of its own combat system. Like I saw a video on it. I still didn't understand after watching that video. It was unique in its own way. It was really good, and I enjoyed it. And I was actually looking forward to buying the game. But then I saw all these articles saying there are a lot of bugs. day one. There are so many problems and all that. So I was like, okay, fine. So I don't have to necessarily buy it and play it on launch. Like, I would love to play this game because I'm already focusing on Witcher 3 and a lot of other single player games out there. But when, of course, still, I haven't purchased the game yet. I haven't played it. But if they do fix their bugs, I will end up playing it, in the future.
Yep.
Because
Same.
like on
Yep.
even on Steam, it came in my recommended because it says that I've played games similar to this, and the similar games were games like Skyrim and The Witcher 3. So I was like, wow, okay, this is pretty cool. Let me just check it out. And I didn't pre-order it though, because I'm not a guy who goes in for the pre-order bonuses unless I'm a big fan of a particular franchise. So that's why I haven't. And this is like the first time I'm entering like the Warehouse Studios. I don't think I've played any of their previous games
Warehouse.
before. Yeah,
They
Warehouse.
did not
Sorry.
exist. As far as I know, they did not exist before the Kickstarter. They formed the studio to make this particular game because they wanted an RPG that was set in medieval times, that was accurate to history, that told that was based around historical settings, which is what Kingdom Come Deliverance is, by the way. It
Yeah,
is
and
based around very
and I actually
true
liked
settings.
that concept. It was a brilliant concept that they brought out, and I hope they fix it. See, I understand they're a very small time studio. I hope they fix their the bugs and all that, because I would love to play the game and understand how that combat mechanics is, because it kind of reminds me of the old school hardcore RPGs back in early 2000s. Like I can't recall any particular names, but there used to be a lot of RPGs which actually had a very hard combat system, and required you to grind a lot and make sure you're up to date. And also, if you wanted to save it, you had to go to a particular point, find like one
Right.
book or something, and save it there. You couldn't save it on the go, or you couldn't save it midway and stuff like that. Like the games of back then in the early 2000s.
Oblivion was like that, yeah.
Yeah, Oblivion was like
Morrowind.
that.
Morrowind was kind of in between Oblivion and Skyrim. Like, it was the stepping off point for Bethesda to make a new breed of RPGs that were more catered to the casual people. But yeah, one thing about this game that, like, Kingdom Come Deliverance, that interested me so much was the stealth. Like, it's very hard for an RPG game to get the stealth mechanics right. And with this level of immersion towards the gameplay and the environment and how enemies react to what the player is doing, I think if they fix the game, stealth, like the stealth can be the only part that can make me go into this, because everyone knows there hasn't been good stealth games in 5-10 years.
What are you saying? We had a
Thief.
Origins.
It's okay.
Thief was pretty good.
Sorry,
Thief was pretty good.
Thief. Okay, but
No, Thief wasn't pretty good. What are you talking about? The recent one was bad.
the recent one, yeah, it was okay-ish. Not
Yeah, let's
that
not get into that.
Yeah, I'm not a stealth guy,
Yeah.
man. I just if there's no one to witness anything, there's no witness.
That's like the Hitman.
Hitman meme, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so my concluding topics for Kingdom Come Deliverance, since so I was very hyped when they announced Kingdom Come Deliverance, particularly because I had just finished playing Witcher 2 by then, right?
All
Okay.
the kings.
I had just finished playing also Skyrim. So they were suggesting something with a mix of Skyrim and Witcher 2, but with no magic, no fantasy, in a place of historical accuracy. As far as I know, the story is based around Belgium or Bolivia.
Bohemia, I think.
What? Bohemia, yeah.
Bohemia, yeah.
So it was based around the warring states around that time in Bohemia. I will put a link to a different YouTube video which explains the entire historical accuracy of this game, so you can check it out later. But
Definitely.
yeah, I am just slightly disappointed because when they came out, I don't even know if I should be disappointed because I'm in a crossroad.
Not even that. I think we have like every other RPG game coming up. We have modders working on that. So already the gaming community is not willing to let go of this game. Like,
Yeah,
So
I mean,
here's the thing.
No,
Go on.
you're saying. Go.
So here's the thing. I understand that modders are coming in. I understand the game will be eventually patched and fixed and all of that. My problem is that
Is it
regularly,
acceptable?
regularly games are releasing to a point where they are not playable on day one. Day one, there are patches like 20 GB,
20.
which is what Kingdom Come Deliverance had.
I mean, you can associate that problem with the rapid advancement we are seeing in the size and the technicalities that itself are part of the game. Maybe like the studios haven't been able to get themselves to the level where they can really deliver.
Maybe. I agree. I understand where you're coming from, but like, so I am willing to give these guys more of a lenient
Leeway, yeah.
uh, judgment, because like they haven't really made a game. They're not really a big studio like Warner Brothers, where I was truly enraged when something like Batman Arkham Knight came out, and I wanted to play it on day one. And even after a studio like Warner Brothers bringing out a game, and it came out very, very badly on launch day. I am just upset that I just hope that this is not becoming a trend, but slowly it
Definitely.
seems like inevitable, right? This is
Yeah,
just
exactly.
yeah. So any concluding words, Ratul? You were saying something.
Yeah, so we were talking about mods. Like, I actually remember reading an article where I think the same guys who made the Total War Attila mod, right, like a complete overhaul. I forgot which game they made it for, but the same modding team did announce that they are working on a Game of Thrones style, like the entire Game of Thrones. I'm not sure if they're following the book lore.
Yeah,
or
right. I heard about that as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're following which lore they're going to be following, the TV show or the books, because let's face it, those two have gone in two different paths. But whatever it is, it'll be insanely good, given with the amount of immersion Kingdom Come Deliverance has to offer with the story of, Game of Thrones. And I mean, I don't want to put down the Kingdom Come Deliverance story because it's historically accurate, but think of it like a fantasy way. You're just walking, suddenly a dragon comes and burns everything. Or you're playing as Jaime Lannister, you're charging at the dragon only to be knocked out by Bronn and who saves your life. That'd be pretty cool, if you ask me.
No, I think a lot of people genuinely want Game of Thrones video game, and I think modding it to Kingdom Come Deliverance is very viable. So interesting, definitely something interesting. Speaking of mods, speaking of games looking different, let's go on to our next topic. A game that I have played a lot of times. It's probably one of the few racing games I have played a lot of times.
I've played this
Burnout
game too.
Paradise.
Yep, that game, man. Before you start, let me just give my experience first. Like, I'm a short-tempered person. Burnout Paradise is a game which allows you to take one mean-ass, badass-looking car and smash other mean-ass cars off the map or into bits and pieces. So that was like my way of venting out, back during, college days. It was good stuff. It was good fun.
I have like two kinds of racing games that I like, or two kinds of car games that I like. One of them would be games like Burnout Paradise, where you can race and smash cars, and then you can see the cars, crumble into small things. Call me a sadist, but I liked seeing that.
No, I actually enjoyed watching that as well. Don't worry.
And the second,
I like how we are going to be talking about how video games cause violence next.
Yeah. So that's after.
Let's save that for the next topic.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But the other game I like is Twisted Metal. I don't know how many of you played this.
Hey, what's it called again?
Twisted Metal.
Twisted.
It's
I've heard of
PlayStation
it.
game.
I've heard of it. I think you're the same one
The
who told me about
only
it.
If Udit was here, he would be jumping right now. It was on PC as well in 2000. Twisted Metal 1, 2 was there on PC. Right.
okay.
The premise of that game is every car has a gun on it, and you basically shoot other people.
Oh,
And
I
there is no
remember.
racing.
I remember playing this on my friend's console.
That's like a death race kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it is. It's like in a
That's
circular.
it. They put you in a big arena, and then you can blow shit up. You can
Yeah,
blow other people.
I remember that.
This Eiffel Tower, you can blow up the Eiffel Tower, and it will fall, and it will create a. So it had the Battlefield mechanics long before Battlefield existed.
Yeah, Levolution.
No.
Yeah, Revolution.
You don't drop Eiffel Tower in Battlefield. That was Call of Duty though.
Whatever. So Burnout Paradise Remaster is coming. Who is hyped?
I mean, the only some game that kind of fits in the genre like this that I've played is like Road Rash, So
Road Rash has
that's about
a
it.
new game called Road Redemption also.
Yeah, you should check it out if you're a fan of
yeah.
Road Rash.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we
So-
made a video on this, right?
So here's the interesting part. Even though the remaster is coming out, people who have seen the game trailer for the remaster, hardcore people who have been playing Burnout Paradise till date are saying that the game looks not as good as the mods make you look.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. We were just talking about modding a couple of minutes back.
Shout out to the modding community, by the way.
Yeah. So apparently, while Burnout Paradise remaster it does look good, it's basically high resolution. The textures have been brought up and everything. But if you are into modding, everyone's saying that just go and mod the game. It will look better. So
Okay.
that's an interesting thing to come out. It's like seeing Skyrim remaster come in, right? Again.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Even people would like, why get Skyrim Special Edition when you can just mod the living fuck out of the actual game from 5 years ago and still get better performance?
Yes.
Better performance, better graphics, everything.
Yeah.
Like Bethesda cannot even achieve that level of immersion.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's just like fly-by topic I thought I'd pick because Burnout Paradise is something of a favorite racing game of mine, and I don't really. And there haven't been any good racing games in the recent times other than Forza, which I won't play because Windows
Crew
Store.
was good. Crew was good.
I mean,
It got good.
a lot of people said Crew 1 was pretty sad, but people are waiting for Crew 2 more because it involves all
Listen, I
vehicles.
played Crew 1. Crew 1 was not good, particularly because, again, I like seeing cars smash. And when in Crew you have smashed to another, you're just going and
Yeah.
you'll stop. It's like going back to Road Rash days when nothing would happen when you hit the car.
Yeah.
Basically like explosion.
It's not just explosion. You know that realistic physics, realistic
Grand Theft Auto.
some amount of feedback when you smash a fast-moving car to another car. You're not just supposed to bump it and like, oh, the car just moved 2 centimeters back. Everything's fine. No windows has been smashed. I just don't understand that. That's particularly why I like Burnout Paradise. So yeah,
I think I played it on PS2. Not sure.
Burnout Paradise.
Yeah.
It was on PS2. It was on PC. It was on PSP.
Yeah.
PSP. I played a lot.
Also, yeah, so like the entire Burnout franchise, except for actually Burnout Paradise was the only one on the PC. Everything else was on the PlayStation or Xbox. If
Maybe
I
not Paradise, but I guess I'd played some iteration of it on PS. Yeah, that's what.
So okay, moving on to the next.
Speaking of burning things,
But moving on to the next topic that Ratul will be familiar with because he played it yesterday
Yeah.
on your channel. Metal Gear Survive wants you to pay to save.
Like legit, I saw this article and I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, and this is yesterday when I was about to stream, and I'm like,
didn't I post this article like on the AsidCast chat a couple of days back, and I started laughing, and everyone
It was just 3 days back. Yeah.
it was so bad.
So
Right.
here's the thing: as much as people are getting angry at Konami, games like Unity had one save spot. Let
Yeah.
me just remind you of that. So now go on.
God save that.
So you've played Metal Gear Survive for some time yesterday.
Yes, I
at,
did.
the
Yeah.
NVIDIA Facebook page. What are your thoughts on it?
well, I played the game. I will say this: you cannot, like most games, when they have a co-op mode and a single-player mode, you're allowed to play them from the beginning. Like you shouldn't have any trouble, grinding your you shouldn't have any trouble in terms of levels. But after playing yesterday, I kind of found out that you got to play the single player like at least for a good maybe 5-6 hours to gain a good level in order to play co-op at a very nice place. Because if you notice yesterday, we were actually facing off high-level opponents, like high-level enemies, all at level 20, and we were completely underfarmed, right? Like
I see.
Like if you
Damn.
were watching the stream yesterday, we actually had so much trouble. Like we just had a pipe spear and a machete, and we were fighting these monsters who were level 20. And normally, if they were level 1 monsters, it would be like 2 jabs and they're dead. But this, we spent like 2 minutes to kill one guy, and luckily we were able to finish one wave with the help of a level 15 person. and that person had like everything, like weapons, guns, whatnot. She like
Probably,
that
just bought it at the store.
no, I mean
Less.
you never know, but that person actually knew how to play because that person came up behind the zombies and kind of took them out, stealth takedowns for faster kills. So that person knew how to play, and we were actually carried in that.
Right. So your opinion, is the game even fun?
I mean, I've never played a Metal Gear Solid. I mean, I've never played any Metal Gear game.
Is
in
the
my life.
game fun in general? Like, is it a fun game?
I mean, it would be fun if we had 4 people. If you had the full 4-man co-op squad, it would be fun. Like in a LAN party setup, it would definitely be a lot of fun.
So you're saying the fun would be like if there are people, but not the game itself.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you can't play it solo, man. Like, if you want to play the co-op, if you want to actually do the wave defense thing, you got to do it with a group of friends.
No. Speaking of the solo part, I actually did that. Like,
You played the solo game?
So right before release, there was a beta launch for Survive. I installed it and probably played it like for 5 to 10 minutes and immediately uninstalled it because it was so fucking boring. Like, I don't know what Konami was thinking, but this is not Metal Gear is meant to be. Like, they completely missed the point of everything Metal Gear.
Okay.
Like, it should have died with Metal Gear Solid 5 properly done, not the copy.
So
Like, cop out
one
and
of the reasons why, as far as I know, why Metal Gear Solid, why Metal Gear Survive was even made, was primarily because, and this is from articles way back ranging in 2014-15, mind you, primarily because Kojima had spent a lot of money making the engine for Metal Gear Solid 5, right?
Yeah, the Fox engine.
The Fox engine. And after he left, they didn't have anything to do with it. And they had already spent millions of dollars into that. So they were like, why not just make another game? That's how, as far as I know, Metal Gear Survive even came out to be.
So there's no real passion driving the game's making itself, let alone the game itself having
money to make
but
up for
enough
pachinko games. God damn it.
They're already making pachinko
Yeah,
games.
make more. Don't just ruin a franchise.
So, passing news again. Like, for those of you who follow the gaming industry and the gaming actors, Troy Baker has been confirmed in Death Stranding. In a recent
I
tweet.
like how the topics are getting interconnected because Kojima.
Yeah. So, that's how I do it. Like, when Udit
just go on.
Yeah, go. Let's not bloat, okay? And also, Arna, please come a little closer to the
Let's go
mic.
to the topic. Let's get into the topic.
Yeah. So, I was saying that when Udit isn't around, thing flows into
That's
like
not the
Zen.
topic. That's not the topic.
Yeah, that's not the
Topic
topic.
is-
Like, you're going off topic right now.
But yeah, Troy Baker is making a comeback not comeback, but he's confirmed for Death Stranding. There's a tweet out for it. We'll post the link below. We'll put an image somewhere here. Not in my face. Somewhere else. Like maybe show him face. That's fine. More pressing matter. Something that I want to discuss and something I've been for some time now, like the last 2-3 days. So if you've been following world politics, you know that there has been a bad incident that happened last week, which was the Parkland school shooting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And everyone, so here's a little gist about the US government, the US scene, the US, how the politics works there. US is one of the few countries right now where you can buy firearms, even if you're like 18 plus, you can just go and walk in and buy a firearm. The shooter that went ahead and killed 17 people in Parkland School and injured 14 others, I think, bought a firearm legally at the age of 19. And this was an AR-15 rifle.
Not even that. He bought a semi-automatic gun. He bought an attachment or a modification to turn it into full auto and then did the crime.
Yeah, whatever. So it's all legally available. And this is legally available. You might wonder how are weapons of war, like fully automatic weapons, available for civilians. It's primarily because
Why?
so
What?
Yeah, so cut that out.
Okay.
But yeah, it's primarily available because of an organization called the NRA, which is the National Rifle Association, which basically funds political parties on both sides, right? Both the
It's a
Democrats
lobby.
and It's a lobbying
Or the gun
organization.
lobby, you know.
Yeah. They basically picket stuff. They hold protests. They do different things when
They
so
control
anyone
influence
can
on the
put gun
politics
reform,
to
right?
be in favor of them.
Since politicians are getting paid by NRA, they cannot directly point at guns for the violence that has been occurring in school shootings and mass shootings across. So now here's the interesting twist, and here's where it gets more relevant to our podcast. Politicians across US right now are blaming video games for mass shootings, from Trump. And I know we are like, people make fun of Trump, but he's like the he's like the president of
He's the leader of
US.
the country.
Yeah, so it's very
Sounds so funny.
it's a very important thing that he's saying something like this. From Trump to Mark Rubio and several other politicians who are mostly in the Republican side are talking about how video games are causing violence and how video games are responsible for school shootings. Right? it's 2018. We're back at
2002.
I remember when we were playing San Andreas, and then we had stories about how video games cause violence, and I saw it get shut down. Right, and now we're making a comeback.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Bin Laden back in his days totally used to, like, you
No,
know.
but here's the interesting thing.
You guys cut.
Yeah, you
We can't
guys.
hear
Here's the interesting thing.
Yeah, you guys.
Okay, we can
cut.
hear you now.
Yeah.
So
Go on,
here's
go
the
on.
interesting part. But when Bin Laden was there, like, a lot of news outlets actually wrote about how he had video games and anime at his place.
Yeah, they actually.
Like, can you imagine Bin Laden being an anime weeb lord?
But
with
imagine
guns and
imagine
everything?
how this is even relevant information. How does it matter what a terrorist does in his free time? Right.
You should have the privacy.
It's just sad to see.
I mean, they just want a scapegoat that isn't a gun. And sometimes earlier it used to be.
Scapegoating, right?
Yeah,
definitely
obviously
scapegoating.
they don't have any conclusive data on to support their claim that there is a causation between people playing video games and then getting violent.
But my problem is. But my problem is, these are people who are leaders. Even if you consider
They have
the fact that-
influence.
yeah, even if you consider the fact that most Republicans and Trump is an idiot, you cannot counter the fact that they influence millions of people across
Obviously,
the globe.
yeah.
Not just US. Not just US. I have people from. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have people from India. I have people from Kolkata telling me about how gun reform in a place like US cannot happen, but video games might actually be the problem, simply because it is coming from the words of politicians, simply because it is coming from people like Trump. And where do you see this going in a place like India? Let's keep it relevant to our local geography.
I think
Like,
that's too
politicians
big a
already in India
geographical
would
level
like to
to.
blame every other thing for the problems in the country than themselves,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah,
I
so
always
like I haven't seen any like people telling me that there's some problem with you playing video games that will cause you to be violent. So I don't think. Yeah, I mean I'm drawing a blank here, literally.
Ratul, what are your thoughts?
I mean, same, dude. Like, I mean, for me, the only time like I was called out for, like, a negative, playing video games in a negative way was, oh, why are you so addicted? I mean, it was never about being violent or
The violence.
It was
Yeah,
never about-
exactly. Same
Violence
here.
would
I
never
think
came
you
into
would
the
have-
picture with me. Maybe that's
Yeah,
how I was
exactly,
raised.
exactly.
Like, that maybe my parents knew that it's like, maybe they were all well educated. They knew that it won't, like, video games didn't cause violence. But I mean, they just told me, don't play too much, you'll get addicted, and somebody gonna
Right,
get
right.
hurt real bad, or so, stuff like that.
Right. So I had a similar experience. But before I go into mine, Arnab, what are your thoughts? I know for a fact, have seen several people who
I know.
blame video
And
games.
again, from Kolkata itself, like,
Yeah.
I would say that if it's not video games, then the scapegoat in this case, I know, like, everyone of us have read the articles and everything. If it's not video games, it's going to be mental health. Like, these two are the only two scapegoats that
The mental
like
health
people
is what the left of America says.
Yeah. Actually,
That's not relevant to our discussion right now.
yeah,
it's kind of like, but I'm just saying, like, these are the two scapegoats that people can find regards to like what politicians
In the
are
current
doing or-
political graph, if you were to say,
Yeah,
yeah.
so like in that very sense, I've had like way back in the days when I started playing games more ardently, people came up to me and like, oh my god, why violent? Like, why always shooting kind of games and everything? Like, I don't have a preference. I just play games because I like them.
mm-hmm.
But I don't know, for some reason, people always attach this issue. Like, if you play violent video games, you will become a violent person. No, like if that was true for an entertainment medium, the same could be said about movies. The same could be said about like TV shows. Like, I don't know if you guys follow that, but India is primarily a consumer of these like shows, crime shows like Crime Patrol, CID. They're completely ridiculous if you look at the content. I know it's meant for raising awareness, but it's completely ridiculous from the point of view of a content.
See. As far as series like CID go, they started with the objective of awareness. They went far different paths from the objective long back. Yeah,
It's become a farce right now.
yeah, but whatever. Coming back to the politicians blaming video games, why I think it is more is because right now we have politicians already going after movies. We have politicians going after TV serials. We have politicians going after in India in different forms of art. Why I see this as a problem is because despite everything happening in India, happening in US, India is a very strong political ally for US, right? And I think like once video games, like Ratul will know this, like the video game industry in India is to grow at almost 200-300% in the next 3-4 years.
Yeah, easily.
Right. Yeah, and that's the minimum benchmark we are taking right now, because we know for a fact that a boom is coming. My fear is, as this boom comes, there will be different politicians, different leaders, not just politicians, leaders, thought leaders, influential leaders, who will be going after video games as a scapegoat for the various amounts of problems that are being faced in real life. Like you can just have Salman Khan going about, and say, I killed that person because GTA 5 inspired me.
Yeah, that's
GTA
sick.
5 inspired me to drive on the sidewalk.
I played latest Need for Speed, sir. I want to try drift, but no, I ran over someone. Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Okay. Something I can add now. Okay. I think this time last year, it was announced that Devendra Fadnavis, the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, was going to be in support of gaming in the sense that they're going to state sponsor a certain studios and stuff that work within Maharashtra. So in that sense, we had a progressive kind of feel as far as complete technicalities go regarding that instance. Nevertheless, firstly, we need to understand that attacking the entertainment industry has been a very conservative opinion that a lot of people hold. Like, there are a lot of conspiracies regarding Hollywood wanting to have complete control over the minds of youngsters to make them liberal. And that's not even like a Alex Jones conspiracy. You have a lot of conservative commentators like Ben Shapiro.
Fox News. Forget conservative.
Fox News. Yeah, Fox News is one of the biggest proponents of the Hollywood thing. Yeah. Now, coming to India, there is a certain trend, if you see, within the BJP and the Congress to be very youth supportive, youth friendly in all of their motives currently. I doubt they will catch video games as their scapegoat.
I would disagree with that. I would disagree there. Congress, when BJP started their elections in 2014-15, like the campaigns and everything, they were youth-centric. Today, they are far less youth-centric than whatever Congress is trying with their limited budget right now, I would say.
Okay.
But yeah, I understand where you're going after. I still do think that this is an issue because we have politicians blaming video games for mass shootings. We have had, like, this was 2 weeks ago, we were discussing about how different agencies around the world were putting video games in the same place as mental disorders, right? How how people can become addicted to video games, how there's a thing called video
Well,
games.
first thing that we need to understand here is that we four people are absolutely going to have absolutely no influence over the discussion. If one politician decides to say it one day, it will just go in one way or the another, especially in India. So, like, that being said, what we need to discuss is whether that event itself will happen in the first place. No, and I think it won't. That's my idea of it. Simply because they wouldn't afford to go against something that is so widespread. It's a vote bank, essentially. I would be really
But
surprised
it is
if
not
they
so
really.
widespread in India, right?
It
Right
will
now,
be, as you're saying, right? A 300% increase. They'll definitely work on the basis of vote. They will not work on the basis or some stance that they have ideologically on which they will therefore not attack video games. I doubt that will happen. That's just my idea of this, though.
Ratul, are you scared?
Yeah, of course. Who wouldn't? Like, come on, man. I don't want, like, see, I make this, I make gaming content for a living, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's why it scares me a lot.
This is something also I would like to talk about. As gaming
Get
is
more
becoming
politically
more
active then. That's it.
No. As gaming becomes bigger and bigger, one thing I don't think people understand how gaming will become big in India is that not consumers of gaming will not necessarily be playing video games. One of the reasons why video games is so popular in places like Europe, US, China, South Korea is because it's because it's a spectator thing. A lot of people don't play video games but watch video games,
Yeah.
right? A considerable amount of a lot of people's times who consider themselves as video gamers will go and watch video games, right? So this affects content creators, this affects consumers as well. In India, we have had politicians actively go after movies, actively go after art, actively go after different kinds
Yeah,
of
and when
content
gaming
creators.
becomes a big thing, they're gonna come after us.
But you need to keep
I
in
feel
mind
like
that the
that
people who are going after the entertainment industry in India are the fringes of radical politics. It will never be the mainstream people who truly will be able to control the debate within modern urban India and truly be able to have influence. Because as you see, the liberal urban centers that we have in India, which are currently going to be the future, as you can say, they certainly are very pro freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and the Padmavat controversy itself is a good example of that. So, given that context, like Penny Sina is not going to influence the video game
I understand,
discussion tomorrow.
Here's the interesting part. When fringe groups go after something like Padmavat, they cannot touch the director simply because he is from Bollywood. Bollywood is a huge fucking agency, not just in India, in the entire world, right? When gaming will grow slowly, fast, or however you say, we do not have unions, we do not have agencies to back us up. There is talks, or there have been talks of government agencies for esports openings in the last 3-4 years, and now we have heard 2-3 days ago that UCypher founder Ronnie Screwvala might be also going after opening a sort of esports federation in India, right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's
Not something we're looking forward to, but never mind.
But we still do not have that any kind of support in a bigger manner in India where you can actually counter if fringe groups do come after us. And
They will, but they will not have as much impact as we would say will be able to really have some kind of an after effect where the industry will be affected. They will just be screaming at the edges, is my point.
I would disagree to that. See, if I have seen anything, both from the left and right, people try to target the minorities. And for the moment, gamers are a minority in the entertainment
They
industry.
will not be anything soon, right? The stance of us being...
It's still a growing industry that's, it's small population.
See, the problem is fringe groups going after these things is the fact that fringe groups get supported by people who have a shared agenda. Like, you can see, you can obviously see in our current context, like in the Padmavat context you just mentioned, our current government like central government basically just turned a blind eye towards the entire debacle fiasco, and they just let it pass. The entire riots and everything, they just happened right under
Now,
central government.
exactly, and this is my point being, the main heads, the people, the elites of the BJP, as we are now talking about, will not attack because it's very precisely recognized that it is a vote bank that will in turn have effects on their election next chapter within the urban liberal centers. And the same thing will happen with gaming, where you will have fringe groups shouting, but the main people will recognize their vote bank and will not speak whatsoever. That's it. That's my entire argument there,
It's valid.
Yeah, it's valid. I understand.
So should we continue with this? I'm personally scared because I thought I thought all of this would have ended 10 years back. I heard rumors of...
That's too optimistic, I guess.
Yeah, like I've been playing violent video games since forever, and I still haven't shot up any school.
Yeah.
And I still hate my school just for like preference, but I haven't shot it up.
So the thing why I am scared is primarily because we saw an end to politicians blaming video games for one thing or the other. I think it's making a comeback slowly, and I think it might seep into India as the Indian industry grows, and that's not good.
That's definitely a possibility, and that will definitely happen. We'll join the international discussion, definitely.
Let's keep it in mind that if it happens, like if this entire movement against gaming actually gains any traction, it will happen right off the heels of net neutrality end in US. So we might just see a very significant shift.
We'll certainly face the repercussions of the discussion happening in US, but I wouldn't say as strongly as you guys are expecting it. That's it.
Okay, fine. Ratul, any points?
Nah, nothing. Let's skip this. No, please.
Cool. Okay.
Little boy is scared. Let's move on.
Your content, the governments are coming after your content.
No. Okay, at least
it's okay. It's okay. We'll protect you, Raj.
It's okay if you're copywriting it. Just don't block the video worldwide. That's all. I mean, let people see it at least.
The first thing they're going to do is that you're going to take this on and kill.
Oh shit.
Anyway, moving on. We have just two more topics, two more things we have to discuss. New games. So I am going to change up the format of whatever Udit used to do with selling video games and this, that, which I regularly won over and over again.
You just took part in one of them.
Sure you did.
I won one.
We had three of those.
We had three of those in which I think Trilokesh cheated on one.
Trilokesh basically scammed us.
Yeah, he basically was I'll tell you in the words chindi. Like I'm not going to pay you a penny.
Exactly.
Right. I got it. That's a good tactic though. But again,
shitty tactic.
See, it works.
Yeah, but you don't have to be a cheapo for it.
Anyway, going to the new topic, this one. The idea is we will each recommend a video game that we are looking.
Recommend something other than...
Because this is a gaming podcast, even though we talk about politicians all day long.
Yeah, that was our longest segment. Anyway, continue. Carry on, my friend.
Yeah. We're going to recommend a game, each of us. I will start because I will not take the mainstream game, which I know Arnav will want to talk about. I will talk about a simple game today, an early access game. It's called Rise to Ruins. RatZ, if you can show the gameplay in screen, that would be nice later.
Cool.
But Rise to Ruins is an early access title that's available right now. It's been in early access for 2-3 years now, and it has one of the best RTS games I've played in a long time. It's actually very retro. The graphics isn't much, but
you played the alpha, right? You played the alpha, right? Not the beta.
It's in early access right now. You can buy it.
Okay.
Yeah, I have bought it.
It's that Circle Planet game which you had showed, right?
No. That is the Universe Sim. That is a different game.
Okay.
This is a different game. This is more fully built. This is something that you can actually start and play for the next 20-30 hours properly.
Okay.
Right. It's a game that has a lot of depth to it. And if you've played games like Settlers, if you've played games that are more about turtling, you know, how you have to build defenses, you have to build walls, and you have to make sure that your taking hordes and hordes of armies that are coming to your base to attack. You will love this game.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can see that.
I know we can't read it.
God damn it.
Yeah, nobody can see it. Get a marker next time.
It said on
Okay.
paid DLC or something like
Yeah,
that.
no paid
No paid
DLC
DLC
to
to unlock me.
me.
Are you
Oh,
retarded?
it's like
When
a
you point
recurrent
the
meme.
camera, you have to turn it around.
Alright, let's Rise to Ruins.
But Rise
Oh,
to
yeah.
Ruins, go
Right.
check it out. It's a game that is a callback to old school RTS, old school God games. You cannot control any of the units. You can build the buildings and then you can assign workers there. Each unit has an RPG mechanic. They will grow in.
Oh, so that's like Spellforce, huh?
This is not like Spellforce. In Spellforce, you can
Kind of
directly-
reminded me of Populous.
I
Instead
mean,
about
you
gods.
literally just mentioned Settlers and RPG. That is precisely what Spellforce amounts to.
So this is not RPG. This is I said Settlers and Tower Defense. Tower Defense.
Oh, okay.
Right. So and basically you cannot control any of the characters, but each of the characters has a different, like, they will levels. They have different characteristics, etc., etc. Right. And you have to build houses. You have to make sure. And this is a very, very vast game. I've played a lot of tower defense games in general, but this is probably the most complex one I have played till date. Period. There is
Okay.
you have to actually build the towers, build your entire. Like, for example, you build your bow tower, then you have to build. Your bow tower needs ammunition, right? So you need to build a lumber mill. You need to build a bowyer who will make the ballistics arrows, and then from the lumber mill, characters have to carry the wood to the bowyer. They have to make the bow, and then it has to go up to the
I see.
tower and so on, right? And it's so complex. It's so fun. It has similar mechanics as some games like Minecraft and Terraria, in the sense that in the daytime you're supposed to build, in the nighttime monsters will attack you, right? It's easily one of the best early access games I've played. So go check it out. It's available for $500 right now on Steam. So worth the time. Yeah, that's my suggestion.
I know.
I want to suggest Biomutant, but it's not out. But if you guys have been following Biomutant, like recent article said that the weapon combos and the spells and everything in the game, the entirety of it, kind of gives you an opportunity to have over 500,000 combinations of attacks, which is incredible, I would suggest, but not the correct word. I can't even find a word. But if you guys want to play a game that is out currently, go check out the new Discovery or History mode that Assassin's Creed Origins just came up with. It's probably like 75 minutes long, and it takes you all across Egypt and gives you a history lesson or something like that.
So you brought that up. I haven't actually checked that out, but like, does the history mode go auto? Is it like a video?
I don't know if it's auto or anything. I have to check it out myself too. I will do that tonight. But I was very interested to see that Assassin's Creed was taking a step back towards a very different aspect of gaming. Like we've all seen those memes. We've all taught us about history.
Yeah.
Now it's actually doing that. And like,
I don't think Assassin's Creed ever was very historically accurate, right?
It wasn't historically accurate, but
it would take scenes and events from certain historical timelines and add them to their narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
The people who were assassinated, some of them were actually.
So let me talk about Assassin's Creed. I played since Assassin's Creed 2. One of the most historically accurate things that they did every time in Assassin's Creed game was build the environment, right? The environment. You can talk about the story, about how it being fiction as much as you like, whatever, and you're not wrong there. But the environments were like on spot, right? I remember playing Assassin's Creed 2 and then going and Google searching different places in Italy, different places in Rome, and they're like almost as accurate. And it's just a sense of, understanding through the game that it's not just, it goes beyond the game. And
and I think like Assassin's Creed, again, recently, like yesterday I saw the trailer, like the new DLC, Curse of the Pharaohs.
Right.
Yeah.
It just came out, and Assassin's Creed the developers basically just said fuck it and dropped the entire realism aspect in, like, they threw it out of the window.
But to be fair,
And-
didn't Assassin's Creed Unity also have like a fantasy DLC?
yeah,
They had a
Yeah.
they had a sci-fi DLC where people traveled time.
no, that was
No,
one
that was
of
in
the
the game.
mechanics. That was one
Yeah.
of the mechanics in the game, like the glitch in the animals, like we
Right.
see.
Yeah,
is
that was really good. Like, it took you to
Like-
Paris during World War II with the Nazis being
Yeah.
That's
So
really-
Assassin's Creed usually does that, but for this, I thought that Origins would touch up on the mysticism part of Egypt, like where we see Anubis and all these extremely cool gods just coming.
mythological fact.
Yeah, but they didn't happen. But
That's sad.
in this DLC, they just said fuck it and just jumped out of the window and said,
Okay.
let's do something completely weird.
Yeah.
Enter the realm of the Valley of the Kings is there. It's an entirely new area where the ships, if you don't believe it, the ships are actually traveling on ground in a grass field. If that makes
Right.
any sense.
I
It looked
Yeah.
cool. It
Yeah.
looked extremely cool. And I'm kind of waiting for it. I didn't think that Assassin's Creed would be this good, but it's turning out to be a pretty good game.
It's
That's
okay. I am more of a lore person and a story
Yeah,
person.
like
That side में थोड़ा disappointment,
yeah,
but Assassin's
again,
Creed overall,
keeping up with the traditions, they have completely disregarded the modern day setting again.
yeah.
So there's
Okay.
that. But do try the new content. It's good.
Okay.
Okay,
Ratan?
so,
Yeah.
Okay.
no, so
Oh.
Okay.
Don't-
You're
don't-
up.
don't-
My
How about
game
you?
is one that was actually. Do I get to recommend old games? I mean,
don't
not very
get to
old.
recommend Dota.
Nah, not Dota, obviously. Come on. So there's this game called The Swapper. Anyone here who's played it?
Swapper.
Yeah.
The Swapper.
Yeah,
It is okay. So I'm basically a big fan of puzzle games, and I think Swapper is by far one of top 3 puzzle games I've ever played. So it essentially boils down to one person. You can make clones of him, four at a time, and then you have to use some certain mechanics within the game to get orbs. The orbs unlock a certain gateways, and it takes you forward. The entire idea behind the setting is that you are an astronaut who is going about a research faculty on the philosophy of mind. So you've got like quotes from Ludwig Wittgenstein, then there's David Chalmers and Daniel Dennett
Of
everywhere.
course, you will like something like this.
It's amazing, but like, okay, so the entire idea is that you take their biggest creation, and then scattered all around this faculty are quotes from all these people, and how they, and then there
Every
are
time
certain.
like someone discovers a code, he's like having an orgasm. He's like,
Okay.
God.
But here's the amazing part. So within this game, firstly, the physics are insanely good for every level. I took nearly 2 hours to complete this game. There are around 40 puzzles, I would say, and each of them you take your good time, to just figure everything out, and then moving across with like there are spaces with 0 gravity. Then and okay, so basically they make this machine from 2. Okay, this kind of enters a little spoiler. I can't spoil. So these researchers, they made this machine which can clone you, and then it's the mind and the like. I'm running out of words here. Just play the game. Yeah, seriously.
You study philosophy. How are you running out?
It's okay. It
Like,
happened.
it will end up moving into what I say spoilers for the game. But yeah, okay. One part I was saying, like, so everywhere scattered around the map are what do you call records of the people on how they worked towards it and all the debates they had, and that's just really
Actual
exciting. So yeah, actual records. So basically,
You mean like actual records of someone like
David Chalmers and Daniel Dennett are having a big discussion across the entire game on how they should conduct the performance and how they should go about to make this gadget, which ultimately falls in the hand of the hero
Okay.
across the entire game. It's really nice. It's really, really, really nice.
Basically, a game about how in space you can't meme.
What the
No.
hell? What the
It's
fuck?
just a really good puzzle game, and if you have a decent understanding of how the today's topics on philosophy of the mind goes, it will be an absolute feast for you. That's it.
Shoham will grow up to be someone like Hank Green, like writing tween novels. Tween
No,
romantic
I will never do that stuff.
Like,
Anyways, Rahul,
I heart fluttered.
like see that,
Oh, wait,
see
we
that
lose?
face.
Yeah, we almost
No,
lost
no,
Soham there.
Shoham blacked out because like his heart fluttered and stuff.
I don't know.
Okay.
oh my god.
That see.
Okay, anyways, that's about it from me. The Soapet,
No,
check
it's
it out.
not-
It's on PS4, Xbox. No, is it on Xbox? I think it's on the PS4.
It's-
Udit has played it. He
It's
must have loved
also on the PC. I just checked. It's on Steam.
Yeah, it's on PC. Obviously, I played it on Steam.
Yeah,
How much is it?
479.
I got it for free, but yeah.
479.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a
Pretty
good friend of mine.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, Ratul, your turn.
Alright, so my game, I mean, I know Arnab is probably going to go full hate mode for it. I'm 100% sure. But see, okay, so he's going to go full hate mode, not on the game, but on the person who was behind it, right? So I'm talking about the game that came out last week. It's called Fee or Fey or Fear, as the developers call it. So it's an indie game by Zoink Games, and it is a part of the EA Originals program.
Right. I saw you
Right.
guys play it.
Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
that game is, I kid you not, when I saw the gameplay trailer, I was like, damn, this reminds me of Abzu, right? And Abzu was like, almost like Abzu is like you just play the game, you just take the guy, just go around and there's not much puzzle involved, but this is like a proper 3D puzzle platformer, and there's so much of color in that game. It's good. It's like also the story is kind of vague. Like you only get to know about the stories by seeing all these murals around the world, getting to know about it. So you play as this little creature who's called Fey or Fee or Fear. I mean, that's what people are still debating over what's the pronunciation of the name of the game. The developers say it's Fear, but a lot of fans call it either Fey or Fee. Right? It's available on Origin for $1,500. Yes, for an indie game, it is pretty expensive, but it is an insane game to play. Like it is colorful. It's got like I think 5 to 6 hours of playtime, and it is just so fun to play. And also the story is pretty
It's
beautiful.
5 hours of playtime and it's 1,500.
Yeah, I know it.
I like the A Originals things. Like, have you, RatZ, have you played Entangled or Tangled, whatever
Right,
game
right.
that was?
That came out 2 years ago. right?
Yeah, from
Yeah.
EA. And EA, that game was a complete, like, it looked like an indie game. It was beautiful.
It was an indie game.
The one with
It was an
the
indie
one with the
game.
unicorn, if I'm not mistaken, like the horse.
No, it was the guy. It was the game where you platformer and every time you walked forward a little bit, your thread would go out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, like, you should try that game out. It's really nice. It has a really pretty aesthetic, like you mentioned, as
So-
he has.
But
But
I would
again-
I would suggest Faye because one, it is pretty new. It's also pretty good, right? See, aside from EA Originals, the price and all that, when you're playing this game, it's actually really good. It is very calming and soothing. Like I wouldn't mind just getting back into the game, just playing with the guy and jumping around and all that. Yes, and the game also uses the mechanics of singing. So you got to sing to the yeah, like so. For example, I'll give you an example. So if you're playing on the keyboard or the controller, right, you got to connect with the animals and various elements in the forest, right? So you got to connect with them. So I think in the controller you had to hold right trigger to kind of form the
Oh,
connection.
you have to hold control. That is like you have to actually. See
So for the
what
mouse,
will Soham do?
so
Sorry?
with the mouse, so let's take the keyboard mouse schematic. With the mouse, you right click to form the connection, and then you got to move the mouse up and down, like either in a gentle fashion to kind of sync both the voices. So basically, this little creature is learning how to sing the various languages of all these guys, right? And using
I mean, Aman would straight up fail because like he holds the controller and he just goes full rage mode like that.
No, actually, Aman, he might be able to get this because it's actually, they do explain, the tutorial is very minimalistic and it's very easy to understand. Like even in the beginning, I was wondering like, dude, what the hell? But then after that, when I just, kind of took my time and understood it, it's just very simple. It's pretty good and I would recommend that game for people
So
to
it's
check
more
out.
of an exploration game, I guess.
It's a 3D puzzle platformer. It has a bit of exploration as well. Like I think I still have to explore some parts of the world in the game itself, even though I finished it.
What's the spelling?
FE.
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 FE. That's it. That's it. It's ion. It's the chemical symbol for ion. FE.
Okay, good. I guess we're done here for the day. Our next topic.
You guys cut off again.
You guys cut off.
Hello.
Yep, go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's it for the day.
The
Yeah,
next
our-
topic was news in India this week, and I think we have already
You have
covered.
nothing.
We have nothing this week,
Except
basically.
that one thing we don't talk about.
Yes, we don't. Correct.
We don't,
If you
yeah.
look at Shoham's face, you'll understand what we're talking
Like,
about.
Tired. I am tired. We are not even going to talk about
Yeah,
it.
let's not get there, guys, because
Yeah,
I have to
seriously.
edit this video, okay? Okay, don't do this for Soham, do this for me.
Fine, we're done for the day. Thank you for
Yes.
watching the podcast. If you have
Thank
lived,
you.
if you have
Bye.
stayed, hold on. We're not saying bye yet.
Yeah.
Stop, like,
Okay.
you can go back
Okay,
to your
go on.
Bye.
Yeah, go on.
Anyway, thanks for watching us. If you've been hanging this far long, thanks. Like,
We
Udit
appreciate-
isn't around, but we appreciate you.
We love you, Udit.
Udit, if you're watching this,
I
Hi.
played Age of Empires 1 remaster.
Mamma
I forgot
mia,
to
Eren, mamma mia, mamma mia.
so
Udit, if
Um,
you're watching this, hi. And
anyway.
we missed you.
hold on.
Ish.
No, see, I am better at this. Every topic-
Open is like, yeah, I'm better at this.
anyway,
Okay, just end it.
hold on. If you guys have
Okay.
come this far, thanks for watching. Go subscribe to RatZ. Go subscribe. Go follow Shoham Rane in Facebook
And
for
Twitter.
Street Fate Controversy and his podcast.
And
Yes.
incessant
Follow our podcast,
talking
guys.
about his philosophical.
He doesn't post philosophical stuff on
He does,
Facebook.
yeah.
He does it on chat. Go follow Arnab if you want to see new things about X-ray.
Follow his Instagram. I personally recommend it.
Following Arnab?
Yeah.
Follow Arnab's Instagram.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
It's good. It's good.
You will get good
Much
cooking.
better than the AsidCast Instagram, right?
Yeah. Add me on Instagram. I give really good.
Cooking tips, right?
So,
Yep.
yeah.
How to make pasta in 5 minutes. Blitz edition.
And if you like this video, go check out our other Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for watching us. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Alright, see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace.
Yes.